If you've ever stayed up late, overthinking, waiting for a text, or trying to prove your worth to someone, be open to hearing this. What you're feeling isn't love, it's a wound calling for your attention. Most people think they are chasing a person, but the truth is when that urgency, longing, or anxiety takes over, you're actually chasing a feeling that goes all the way back to childhood. Today, I'm going to teach you what is actually happening inside your nervous system when you are chasing a romantic partner in any way, why it feels so incredibly intense, and how healing this wound changes your entire experience of love. Hi, my name is Michelle Fondin. I am the author of 12 published books, including Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love, and Twin Flame Union, the 7 keys to a healthy twin flame journey. You can find all of my 12 published books on Amazon and 10 of my published books on Ingram Spark. If you are new to this channel, I want to welcome you here. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I teach meditation online on demand. I also have twin flame boot camps in case you're interested in healing that twin flame journey, if that is the journey you are on for your spiritual awakening journey. We are going to jump right into this topic. And on my channel, I do a theme a week now. So I stick with one topic. There is a vlog, there's a teaching video, and there is a 5 questions to ponder and journal on Sundays. So stick with me and we are going to decode this right now. So let's look at the core principle of chasing a romantic connection, or really chasing anything, to be honest with you, but this focuses more on the romantic connection in and of itself. Chasing is obviously based on fear, and I've spoken about this in other videos. Chasing is based on fear, whereas love is based on love and not fear, right? Love leans in toward the person, meaning, oh, I'm intrigued, I am interested. This is interesting. I think I might like this person. Whereas chasing is grasping or grabbing. Now, it's super interesting because one of the yogic principles called aparigraha, and I write about it in my book, The 8 Limbs of Yoga for Modern Times, a practical guide to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The term aparigraha means non-grasping, and this is literally one of the principles of yoga, non-grasping. And chasing is grasping. Chasing is trying to grab something that you feel like you really don't have a hold on. And that creates a lot of tension and a lot of anxiety on the inside because you feel like, I can't quite grasp it. I can't quite grab it. And that is when you know that it is coming from a wound. It's not coming from love as much as it's coming from a core wound, a wound from your childhood, a wound from your past. It's your nervous system trying to regulate itself. It's your nervous system trying to realize, I want to heal this once and for all, and this might be my golden opportunity to heal this. So chasing, even though it might seem like it is, chasing might seem like this is, I want the person. I want them. I gotta have them. If you've ever been to Cold Stone Creamery, they have different sizes of ice creams. It's like, I like it. I love it. Gotta have it. And I feel like chasing is, gotta have it. I want this person. I gotta have it. So when you think about love and you think about chasing, chasing is not like, I want this person. It's, I want this feeling. I want this feeling of safety and security. I want this feeling of love or unconditional love. I want this feeling of having someone who will validate me in a way that I feel loved and safe. But chasing is really more about, I want this pain to end. This pain that has been repeated in many stories in my life, whether it is with my parents, one parent or the other, or both, whether it's from a fear of abandonment, whether it's a fear of love's lost from the past. But when you chase, you're really trying to resolve a feeling that's really deep inside of you. It's like, I have this feeling that I need to resolve and I want it to resolve. And so I'm going to chase this person because I feel like they're the answer to my prayers. This is all subconscious, by the way. This is not conscious. Most people are not consciously thinking this. They have it on the inside and they understand that there's someone in front of them that they feel like they desire and they want, and they feel like it's love. And maybe on some level it is love, but the stronger feeling of that grasping or grabbing is really the feeling of trying to resolve this feeling that is totally unresolvable in the past, where you tried to get over it, you really couldn't. And so you're really trying to resolve what has happened in the past. The unavailable person, the person that's ghosting you, that is ignoring you, that says they don't want to be with you, that's running away from you, in a way, they feel familiar or they feel like home because the pattern is recognizable by you. The pattern is recognizable by your nervous system. And I really spoke about this in last week's theming about your love blueprint. So do check out those videos after this one. So what you are saying when you're chasing them is, I want to be chosen. Like, I want to be chosen. That is why I am pursuing you. I want to be loved. That is why I'm pursuing you. I really got into this program called Lucifer on Netflix, and this is the second time through that I've watched it. I watched it when it was out first on Netflix, and then I finished the series more recently. And if you've never watched Lucifer, I would say go watch it. Tom Ellis is absolutely delicious. He's amazing. But there's this character in Lucifer. So Lucifer is supposed to be the devil, but the devil that comes to earth, and the devil's really good, but the angels are really bad. So it's like everything reversed. And Maze is a demon who works for Lucifer. And in the middle of this series, I would say the middle toward, the latter seasons, Maze thinks that she is in love with this woman, Charlotte. Well, Charlotte died and went to hell. Maze used to torture people in hell. So Maze looked at Charlotte and she was like, I am so enamored with you. I am so in love with you. I want to be with you. I'm so attracted to you. And Maze could not understand why she was so attracted to Charlotte. And Charlotte at one point says to Maze, I've been to hell and back. And then Maze has this epiphany and she said, oh, that's why I'm attracted to you, because you smell like hell. So that's really what this chasing is about, is that familiarity of the hell that you had been through, instead of wanting a real holistic love with this other person that feels pure and that is from love's pure sake, not from the wounding. But I really loved that. I thought it was hilarious because it's like deep psychology in a show. So that is what you are chasing. You're chasing the hell that you've been through. I find that perfect. I just thought of that just now. But that's a perfect way to explain what chasing's all about. Chasing is, you're chasing after your personal hell to resolve it. So let's delineate the difference between real love and wounds, because most people really aren't able to differentiate, right? We think love is this mixture of desire and jealousy. We think love is, I want affection with this person, but it's also possessiveness, like you are mine, right? But that's just a distorted view of what love really is all about. So let's explore the differences between love and wounds. So love moves towards you gently, right? When you are in love with another person and they are falling in love with you, you just sort of move toward each other gently. There is no craziness. It's like, oh, I'm getting to know you. You're getting to know me. This feels really pleasant. This feels really nice. And love, as I mentioned before, also creates safety, right? Where you feel safe with a person, you feel at ease, you feel like you can be yourself, you feel that they are learning about you and you are also learning about them, but it really feels flowing and easy and it doesn't feel like desperation. And of course, it reciprocates and it never feels like it's so much effort, right? It never feels like, oh, one person has to put in so much effort to make this happen. It kind of nicely reciprocates with each other, right? So there's not this sense of runner chaser. A wound pulls you into proving yourself, like proving yourself worthy. That's what a wound feels like. It triggers your abandonment patterns from your past or not being chosen, for example. It activates fear in you more often than love, where you fear loss, you fear them not wanting you, you fear them not choosing you, you fear them abandoning you. It makes you collapse into despair, or it makes you go into overdrive and overgiving, right? Have you been there? Overdrive and overgiving. It blurs your intuition into like misreading signals, if you will, because you're in that constant state of fight, flight, freeze. Right? Fight, flight, freeze. I think that's what it's called. So you're in that constant knee-jerk response because your nervous system is so hardwired from the past to fear loss of love, that it puts you into hyperdrive, right? So then your intuition is telling you the wrong things, meaning you're misreading your actual intuition, because you're basing it on fear rather than love and natural propensity toward how love really is, right? Love isn't about chasing. Love isn't about pursuing in any real hardcore sense, right? We talk about lovers pursuing each other, or when we talk about, for example, a man pursuing a woman, we're not talking about going into hyper overdrive. We're just talking about doing nice things, having nice gestures, maybe giving a bouquet of flowers, or maybe calling up to see how your day is going, right? So that's not hyper overdrive, but when you are in fear mode or in chasing mode, you tend to overdo things just a little. If you have to convince, coerce, pursue, anxiously await, or earn someone's presence, then that is the wound. That is not love. That is definitely chasing. And if connection requires you to self-abandon, you know that is not love. That is not love when you have to lose yourself for somebody else. That's definitely not love. So let's go ahead and tie this into the twin flame journey, since I mentioned in my books, and I know a lot of my viewers on this channel are on the twin flame journey. Now, if you're not on the twin flame journey and watching this video, you can plug it in really to any strong romantic connection where you feel this strong magnetic pull to somebody else. A lot of people on the twin flame journey misunderstand it in a way of that runner chaser phase, right? The runner chaser phase, a lot of twin flames think like, oh my God, it's the magnetic attraction. It's the soul connection that's causing the runner chaser. And in fact, the runner chaser stage or phase of the twin flame journey is not caused by the spiritual connection. It's caused by the triggering of those wounds, right? It's really caused more by the 3D self than the spiritual self, right? Because as I mentioned, the spiritual self is not worried about being abandoned. The spiritual self is not worried about the loss of love. The spiritual self loves unconditionally. And so whether a person comes and goes into your sphere, the spiritual self is not too worried about that, right? Because the person leaving is not a loss of love according to your spiritual side of things. So the runner-chaser dynamic is more about those wounds being activated. And so the stage where you have that runner chaser phase in the twin flame journey is not the spiritual stage. It's definitely the activation of those wounds. And so when you rectify that, and as I mentioned this in so many of my twin flame videos, as you begin to heal that side where you are no longer so obsessed, then of course the runner chaser tends to dissipate, at least on your side, right? On your side of things, when you heal that and you turn more toward that self-love. So just know that the idea of you chasing your twin flame is not so much about, I need to feel the spirit in them, right? And you might be chasing the feeling of unconditional love as well, but really the idea of the chase is more your wounds activating, is more you activating your own wounds, or your twin flame mirroring back to you to activate your own wounds. And that is what causes the action of the chasing, right? So that's what we're talking about, like that action of chasing or that action of running, right? Someone might also run because of the activation of their childhood wounds as well. So remember that twin flame union happens through balance. That's what I always teach and preach, that it happens through balance. And one thing that I always mention too is that when God, spirit, the universe, source wants to bring something to you, it'll naturally happen. There's nothing you have to actively do to cause it to happen, to make it happen. And I produced a video a really long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. And I think the title was something like, what did you have to do to meet your twin flame? I'll try to find it and I'll try to post the link to that right here. I think it's something like, what did you have to do to find your twin flame? And I talk about that, how when the universe is ready to bring in something into your life, it'll happen naturally. Like you will align with it. You just have to chill and let it happen. So the point at which you understand that from a vibrational standpoint, from a physical and emotional standpoint, you kind of sit back, relax, and stop that runner chaser phase as well. So let's go through a list of the signs that you're actually chasing a wound rather than chasing the person, where you're trying to find a feeling, trying to find that feeling rather than really trying to possess that person, right? That sounded weird, but you're trying to get the person rather than get the feeling, because I feel like when you realize that, it becomes so much less about the person themselves than about you recognizing the wound and healing the wound first. And I always say when that person comes back or comes in towards you, then it's a really nice to have, because then it becomes more like love rather than obsession or wounds. Signs that it's a wound is overthinking it, right? When something happens naturally, you really don't have to overthink it. It just happens, right? It just feels natural and normal and harmonious. The other sign would be obsession. We've already talked about that. Strategizing, like trying to figure it out, like it's a big old puzzle. If love definitely happens naturally, when two people are ready to be together, when two people are willing to be together, when two people really desire to be together, there's no strategizing, right? It's kind of like, hey, would you like to hang out tonight? Sure, let's go hang out. And then it happens. But when you are operating from a wound, you feel like it's a great big puzzle that you need to figure out. So you have to have a strategy. You have to have a game plan to have this happen. When you're trying to earn a response is another sign, meaning you're performing. And I talked a lot about this in vlog number 23, which I just posted on Monday evening of this week. If you're viewing this, the week of December 8th. So I'll post that link here or here so you can check out performing to earn love. That is definitely a wound. That is not a natural love happening. If you're feeling unsafe without the connection, like feeling that you can't go on. So many love songs have been written about this. I can't go on without you. I am lost without you. That's a wound. That is not love. And then the final sign is feeling that that person is the only one. I have so many conversations with so many twin flames in my one-on-one coaching sessions about this. I also see people commenting on my YouTube channel, on my twin flame videos about this. When I talk about dating other people, being with other people, allowing yourself to have love in your life if your twin flame is not ready, willing, and available. And I get a lot of pushback on this one, but honestly, it is super unhealthy to consider that you might never be with another living, breathing human being in a romantic connection unless it's your twin flame or soulmate or specific person. That is flawed thinking, and that is operating under a wound rather than under unconditional love, frankly. There are so many other signs that I could focus on that maybe I will do a secondary video when talking about unconditional love versus conditional love. And I will probably include some of these in my upcoming book, Love Me Unconditionally, A Spiritual Guide to Self-Love. But let's talk about how to break the patterns of this type of response, right? The response to a specific person, your twin flame, a soulmate, a karmic partner, or just any old love connection. How would we actually break this pattern? Because again, if it's coming from wounding, it's usually running pretty deep. So one would be self-regulation. It's doing a self-check-in, right? Am I going too far? Are my actions going too far? Are my thoughts going too far? It's doing that self-check-in, self-regulation, self-check-in. Hey, self, what are you doing, right? You find yourself texting a long text at midnight because they didn't contact you that day. Do a little self-regulation. Maybe I don't need to send this text right now. Maybe I get a good night's sleep first and think about it more in the morning. Doing inner child work, which we have talked about on this channel, especially in the last 2 weeks, I've spoken about that. I also write about inner child work in my book, The Empowered Divine Feminine, and it will be in my upcoming book as well. Nervous system healing, because if you're getting those knee-jerk reactions, those knee-jerk responses like fight, flight, freeze, meaning like you're feeling really fearful when someone starts to pull away from you, or when someone is rejecting you, or someone that you thought you had a lot of things in common with or a very strong connection to, that all of a sudden they're ghosting you, they're not contacting you, they're disappearing from your life. Nervous system regulation can really help, and I would say the number one is meditation. Number one, because meditation is direct nervous system regulation. It literally is the complete opposite of fight flight. And so it reprograms your nervous system by meditating every day. And I teach meditation. Check it out on my website. Identifying your unmet needs is another one. And this is something obviously that takes some deeper work. Looking at what needs were not met, what needs are not met currently, and how you could go about meeting those needs on your own rather than looking to the exterior to have those needs met. Now, certainly, a lot of needs are met within the confines of a healthy relationship, but you obviously don't want to try to get those needs met if someone is acting and reacting to you in an unhealthful manner, right? Okay, so let's just do one more because I can sense that this video is getting a little long. Let's just do one more. How do I fix this? Rewriting your love blueprint. And the reason I mention that is because we worked on it last week. So if you missed the 5 questions to ponder, to journal, to reflect that I produced and posted for last Sunday on redesigning your love blueprint, you can go ahead and view that. I'll post it right here. And also check out the 2 videos I did last week on that, because this is really about redesigning, rebuilding as an adult, how you conceive of love and how you would like to receive love, because that is so important that you're operating from an adult standpoint rather than the inner child that's been wounded. And you're no longer, once you heal that, you're no longer reacting from that wounded inner child. So that is going to be very helpful if you actually take a look at it and work through that. Instead of assigning the job to one specific person to resolve your problems on feeling loved, it's really good to take a look at the actual wounds that are coming through in the effort of chasing, or grasping, or grabbing, as I mentioned. And that way you can stop the behavior, which will also help you to attract in people who are readily available to you, right? It'll help you to attract in people who are emotionally available to you. And it'll also help you to become more emotionally available and have more self-love and self-worth, because that's really what we're working toward here. So I hope this was helpful. Please do put something in the comment section below if you found that this was helpful and you found that you've chased in the past, but now you're done. You're done with that chapter in your life. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you for subscribing to my channel if you're not yet subscribed. Thanks for giving the video a thumbs up, sharing with others who could use a little help on the self-love journey. Thank you for your support of my channel. You can check out one or more of my 12 published books. Check out my courses on my website, michellefondinauthor.com, and I will see you in the next video.